Joining us now from New York City is a columnist for the New York Post who writes about these kinds of things all the time. But she's a new podcast that Red Seat, which we're in business with, is promoting. It's called PodForce One, and it's going to deal with politics. And Miranda Devine has access to a lot of very interesting guests, and she will be doing that podcast. We hope you check it out. So, Ms. Devine, first of all, am I making any mistakes in my Iranian analysis?
No, I don't think so at all. And I mean, you know President Trump very well and have known him for many years. And you know that people can't pigeonhole him as either a warmonger or a dove. He's sort of criticized for both things, but as he says, he just tries to apply common sense. And that's what he's been doing now. He's been crystal clear from the beginning throughout the campaign and previously that Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon.
Okay.
That's all.
Do you think he's making any mistakes? Should he be more aggressive? Should he be more passive on it? Is he making any mistakes, in your opinion?
I don't think so. I mean, look, he hasn't done anything overt yet. He's just threatened the Ayatollah. He said we have complete control of the skies. Obviously, Israel has degraded Iran's defenses, so now is a good time to go in and just smash the nuclear facilities. That's all.
But what if Israel can't smash them because they don't have the bombs that we have? And say the mullahs hold out, and the only way to obliterate the nuke stuff is for the United States to bomb these mountainsides. Would you support that?
That is the only way, because these nuclear facilities are buried very deep down, and only the US has these B-2 bombers that are capable of carrying the bombs that can actually get near them. So, I mean, unfortunately, America is the only country in the world with the ability to do this. And I think President Trump has been weighing this decision very, with great care. And his message to the Ayatollah just a short time ago saying, surrender, unconditional surrender. We don't want the Ayatollah dead. He's safe for now. This is a clear, he's moved.
Yeah, he's trying to get right. It would be much better if they threw their hands up, and then the United Nations could go in conjunction with the United States and just take.
It's not going to happen, probably, but I mean, a limited strike.
What could
just
happen,
do that
though,
and get out.
What could happen is the Iranian people, the Persians, will rise up, and if that happens, the army will turn, and that's what Trump is really hoping for. He's not hoping for any rationality on the part of the Ayatollah, okay? He's hoping that the Persian people will say enough. And that's why he's saying, get out of Tehran, this and that. And it's possible that happens. Not probable, but possible.
Well, we hoped for that in Iraq, and it didn't happen.
We hoped for it a lot of places, and it didn't happen. But I do agree with you that Trump is not going to allow this thing to go back to where it was, in a sense that it signed some kind of deal, and the deal is murky, and they still have this capacity. Trump has come to the conclusion, and I know this to be true, that they're done. And if we have to push them over the edge, we'll probably push them over the edge. But if we do that, we're going to have trouble with China in particular. And that is a huge, huge story. And I know that because I was just in Beijing. China didn't care about the mullahs. They don't care about them one bit. But they don't want the United States pushing people around and using military action. So that's what Trump had, a very, very complicated situation. I also want to talk to you today about the media. People may not know this who don't live in the New York area, but Miranda Devine was right in the middle of the Hunter Biden laptop thing, where the New York Post, to its credit, got the laptop, printed what was on it, and then the mainstream media, the corporate media, attacked the New York Post, saying it was all bogus, which those of us who are honest brokers of information knew was false. And I think that the corrupt media knew it was false as well, but they didn't care. But anyway, you went through a long period of time where you were fighting these people, and then they finally admitted defeat and said, yeah, the New York Post had it right, blah, blah, blah. Do you see any improvement in those people who reported dishonestly about Hunter Biden?
No, all they do is morph. They never said that the New York Post got it right. They just seamlessly moved into, oh, yes, the laptop is real. And, oh, yes, then it's used in a court of law as evidence. Oh, yes, but they never go back and revisit their own errors or correct them. They are so arrogant. I'm thinking particularly of the New York Times, which is, all the news that's fit to print, except anything that's damaging to the Democrats or might help Donald Trump. And they sort of set the agenda for all the newsrooms, not just in the United States, but around the world. And so that's the skewed perspective of America that's transmitted. And it's through the eyes of the New York Times, which has not got a grasp on reality. And they haven't changed at all.
But they don't want to grasp on reality. They're in business to promote a certain lifestyle, a progressive lifestyle, and that's what they want to do. Yeah. You're an interesting person, to me anyway, because you worked in the media in Australia, I believe in Japan, in England, and in the United States. So you have a perspective, a worldwide. My theory, and I could be wrong, of course, is that we have the most corrupt media in the free world right now. America, I mean, the BBC is pretty corrupt, but we're really bad now. Do you concur?
No, not at all. I didn't actually work in Japan. I was a child. I grew up there. But look, I think that, I take Australia and England, they're dominated by the BBC, and in Australia, the other government-funded equivalent state television called the ABC. And they so dominate the rest of the media that they are completely untrammeled by any semblance of the truth. And they are incredibly partisan and basically peddle propaganda. Now, they're no different, I guess, from the New York Times, the Washington Post, CNN, etc. But at least in the United States, there are disparate voices. And those voices are getting stronger as the American people wake up to the fact that they've been lied to by those august, established media organs, and they look for alternate sources of news, like Bill O'Reilly's No Spin Zone, like the New York Post and our new podcasts, like Joe Rogan even. There are lots of
and there's a
media voices.
There's a study out today, we're going to report on it tomorrow, that the alternative news agencies have now surpassed which is obviously true. But, here's the rub on it. It isn't ideology that has sunk them, although that's a part of it. They're boring, Miranda. They're boring.
Well, they
you
are
know
boring.
That. Because they're all parrots. They get their little, at a K Street every morning, they get their little talking points. Their editors just gut them, okay? You say this, you say that, and if you don't want to say it, you're not working for us. And so these people go on there and they're like zombies. You don't learn anything. Yeah. They're not seeking the truth. They couldn't care less. What they want to do is keep their own jobs. And on television, I made my name by having robust debate on the Fox News channel. Now, all of them just bring in people who agree with everybody. Tell me more. It's like we don't have fire anymore, and people are going, So I think that's why, because the social media is so much more lively, and it gets to your PodForce One. So you're going into a sea of podcasts. This is not a podcast. This is a broadcast here. But you're going to a sea of it. Last question, how are you going to make it different?
Look, I guess just the relationships that I've built up with the cabinet members and President Trump. I guess they trust me, and I'm hoping to ask them questions that are obviously of the news of the day. But, in my normal interviews with people, I'm looking for, a front page story, exclusive something on whatever is the hot topic. But this is a bit more relaxed. You have more time. I had 45 minutes with the president, and I just had over an hour with Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent. And, it's just probing, I guess, what motivates them, what their desires are, what their background is, what drives them. They're all incredibly, they don't get to these positions of power without being driven and unique people with a perspective on success and an ability to get success. That it means that they have a lot of lessons for the rest of us. And look, also, many of them have, personal lives that are not chaotic, that are pretty stable. And how do they manage to do that? I'm interested in that when, these powerful men and women, what drives them behind the scenes as well.
All right. So PodForce One is the new podcast. We're on our way. If you get anything good, not good, but big, let us know. We'll throw you right on. We appreciate it. Good luck with it. Thank you. Thank you for watching. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel and follow me on X. Look for @Bill O'Reilly.